ಆಯ್ತು ಆಯ್ತು. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ರೀ ಮೇಡಮ್ ನಾನು. ನಾನು ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್. Right. Good morning. No response, nothing.
Good morning, sir.
Very good. Right. So we were discussing user documentation and online help. So let us see some of the points in taxonomy. So first two we had discussed last class, and another three we have to discuss. That is nothing but the here is user documentation, online help and tutorials. So how to utilize the documentations and online help and tutorials. So we have the different topics are there to discuss this one with respect to paper and with respect to the systems. So how to compare that, and we have to see it. So time of intention is nothing but before starting. So you have the quick guide, manuals and tutorials. So when you are starting, before that you have to see the guidelines for the typing this one, user documentation and online help. So when you are taking the online help, you have to remember you have to see the guidelines for that. When you are taking that, what is the rules and regulations. So when you are preparing the 6th semester project, plagiarism is there. So you cannot copy the documentation, whatever it is available. So you can refer that, but when you are referring that, again you have to understand, you have to copy it when you are writing the documentation. So initially we are writing the brief introduction for the programming languages. For example, if you take Java, SQL, all these things. So somebody also might have written the Java, SQL, all these things, but still you have to write by your own. You have to read that. That means what? That is what the before starting guidelines, all these things you need to discuss it. So you study that and you have to write by your own. That is what the plagiarism checking. At the beginning of the interactions, getting started, animated demonstration. So beginning of the interactions, you have to discuss how to start, how to demonstrate all these things. So you should have the clarities for this. During the task, contextual sense. So when you're doing the particular task, so you have to take the somebody's help. That is nothing but the systems initiated. So system initiated help you have to take and you have to do it. So after failures, so when chances are there to get the failures. So once you get the failures, frequently asked questions. So any items you take when you go for the failures, then only we'll be going for the frequently asked questions. So some of the doubts. So that means what? When you are filling the VTU examination form also, so something goes wrong, frequently asked questions. Or sometimes we'll read first, then we'll go. But in spite of that, mistakes will be happening. But we can see the questions and answers. If it is not possible, then one more step. So when the users return to the next time, startup and tips. So when you go for the medias, you have the text. So paragraphs with the list of the steps. So here is paragraphs, you have to write it, or highlights, bullets, something like this, you have to write it. Next is here is the graphics. Graphics is nothing but when you're showing the audio video should be matched for that. Screen prints can illustrate the explanations. So whatever you are showing for the graphics, that you have to show the explanation, that you have to match it that one. That is what the media here. So voice recording. So voice recording is nothing but what? So once it is recorded, you can play for that. So above one is nothing but audio video should match it. Either news reader news you can take the example, or movie you can take the example. Next is video recording of the someone using the interface. So video recording, somebody will be showing the interface and this one. So yesterday we have seen some of the two records have played it. So that means what, have done the interfacing, that's all. So already it was there how to take the interfaces documentation. For this, just have shown the video. That means what? So how they have done the documentation. So for example, if you want to install some of the apps, so for that some of the rules, regulations, or how to utilize that one. So they might have given the informations. Next is animations, recording of the interface itself in the action with or without the emotions. Simulations next. So extensibility is nothing but the closed systems. Users can add more information. So that is nothing but the notions, synonyms, or transactions. This is what the taxonomy for the user documentation and online help for the tutorials. The next one is yesterday only we have told you. Next topic is nothing but the reading from the paper and displays. So before going for this, reading from the paper and versus displays. Suppose if you are taking the newspapers. Newspapers, what will happen? Headings they will be following, subheadings they will be following inside the paragraph, inside the pages. So front sheet, normally what they will be doing, so they will be giving the color printouts. Inside some of the pages, they'll give black and white and even colors also. So they have some of the standards they follow for that. So what will happen is nothing but what, you have the papers, you can able to read it. So they are maintaining the some of the standards. That's it. That is what one example. So another example is nothing but even news are available. So for example, if you take Times of India only, so paper we can read it, and some of the informations even will get the same news in the online also. So there what will happen, some of the cases font size they'll be maintaining that one. Suppose if you do it, so you will be sending mini project report to your faculty members. What will happen? One page, one way will be there. Sometimes may not be visible properly. Sometimes diagrams not mapping, not integrating properly, not linking properly. So some of the examples we can take that one. So what, when we are preparing for the this one, so when you are preparing the notes, when the teachers are saying the problems, you'll be writing and you'll be keeping that one. So that you will be writing that one. Suppose the same diagrams if you want to make the notes using the systems. So how much difficulty? Suppose if you take the mathematical examples like some of the special symbols, all these things, making notes is a bit difficult. Instead of that, writing only best, blackboard only best. So when we are solving the problems also, we have used maximum blackboard only. That was the best. Suppose if you are taking the PPTs, what will happen? So from this we are getting this, we are getting this, will stay. So many people will not understand. Suppose what will happen, if you are writing the steps, you will understand. That is what the differences between the reading from the papers and the displays. So you have to compare with the systems and the textbooks, you can say that one. So you are reading from the paper and displays. So when you are reading from the papers, how it will be displayed? So what is the actions? What are the precautions you need to take care when you are displaying, reading from the papers versus the displays? So that means what, here is no need to bother for just examples I have told you. So here is reading from the papers versus displays is nothing but, so take one the newspaper or take the textbooks. So top to bottom, first to last, they'll be having some of the rules, regulations they'll be following for that one. So for example, video report, if you take headings, this much font size you have to follow. Subheadings, you have to follow this. Text, you have to follow this. Left hand side, how much you have to give the gap. Right hand side, how much you have to give the gap. Top, bottom. So all the informations will be given properly. So now textbook, if you see, so every textbook, what will happen? Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and so on. The similarly, left hand side some of the margins, right hand side some of the margins, they are given top, bottom, and diagrams. When they are giving some of the standards, they will be following. For example, if it is the 10th chapter, 10.1 diagrams will be following. 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4. Suppose if it is a table 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, irrespective of the subjects. You see once the textbook, how they have made it, the preparations. That is what you have to follow, some of the rules, regulations correctly. So that is what you have to do it. That is what the reading from the papers versus the displays. So how they have done, what are the precautions to be taken care. So that means what? Either font size, either color size, either background, foreground, and diagram pictures clarities, all these things to be taken care when they are doing the reading from the papers versus the displays. So simply papers, newspapers, if you take, they will not display something like that. Even diagrams like photos, all these things, if they have the clarities, then only they will do it. Otherwise they will not take, they will not print only. So diagrams, that means photographs should be visible properly. So that is what the brief introduction for the reading from the papers versus the displays. Now we'll see what they have given with respect to font size, foreground, background, colors, all these things. So still we have many examples for this. Reading distances. So how much reading distances? Normally when we take the papers, maybe 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters away we will be keeping from our eyes. So then we can be able to read it. So then that is the normal way of the reading the books or newspapers, whatever it is. If it is TV means we'll maintain some of the distance. If it is systems, you know that some of the distance. So that is what the reading from the paper versus the displays. So what they have followed the rules and regulations, what is the advantages and disadvantages, we'll see that one. So even though we have some of the reduced hand and body motions, layout and formatting, reading displays, so font size, all these things we are having. So let us see one by one how it will be working, how they made it that one. So all these things are called the real-time examples only. So whatever we are reading this chapter, that is nothing but the chapter itself says user documentation and online help. Now let us say empirically 15% to 30% of the slower task times comprehension or proofreading of the text on the computer displays are compared to on the paper. So compared to on the papers, here is when they are displaying, they have to do the proofreading, all these things. So proofreading is nothing but whether the text is correct or not. So whether the any spelling mistakes are there or not, grammatical mistakes are there or not, or standards they have followed or not, font size whether they have followed or not. So all these things to be taken care. That is why proofreading is required. So empirical is nothing but the numbers. So how much fast, slowest, that one. Second one is called the technology of reading from the paper evolved over the hundreds of the years. So technology of the reading from the papers. So reading from the papers normally we are doing, so that is nothing but the hundreds of the years. So they have maintained that one, and technology is nothing but the, is a continuous process. Now already I have told you, you have the some of the points to be discussed here. Example, font size, foreground, background, low context, reading from the distance, layouts and formatting, reducing the hand or body motions, unfavorabilities of the displays, all these things we have to discuss now. So we'll see one by one. So for example, font size, if you take, so you know the font size, if it is increasing, decreasing, so if it is a size, So normally textbook, if you see, they will be following some of the font size. So we can be able to read for the font. So some of the cases, if I zooming or not zooming. So if it is smaller one, we cannot be able to read it. So that's what the font size, all these things. So series of the fonts evaluated the proper readabilities. So this is what the some of the books they will be following the some of the standards, some of the books and the works of the grade. So sans serif fonts are appropriate for the today's electronic displays. So below are the some of the font size PPT 16 and 12, but the series of the same science and serif. So normally we will be taking for the time so Roman. So some of the textbooks they will be following some of the rules and regulations. See here is different font size we have given. So the same text you see that one. So first one is now is the time for all good meant to come to the aid. So the same text, if it is decreasing font size, what will happen? Still, if you decrease, what will happen? Still, if you decrease, what will happen? So last one, you have to put some of the stress to read that sentence. So first one is easily we can read it. Second one we can okay. Third one and fourth one, so we have more strength for our eyes. So that is where the font size we have to maintain, how to maintain the standards, all those things. So from here we have some of the font size, maybe 16 or 18 we have used it. So here this is also okay, so can be able to read it that one. So when you go for the smaller one, so 12, 10, it is difficult to read that one. So that means what we can able to read it, but it is more strength for our eyes. So that is what they're saying. Font size also one criteria when you're reading from the displays, reading versus the displays. So here is potential disadvantages of the reading from the displays. This is what I have sent one based on this one only today's question. So poor fonts, especially on the low resolution displays. Suppose if it is a lower resolution is there, text we are seeing some of the cases. If it is low resolution means what will happen? It will not be visible properly. We cannot able to read it out. So sometimes we are seeing so low resolution. So suppose if it is a blackboard, teachers if it is writing. So sometimes the resolution is not good. The backside people may not be able to see it. So maybe font size less also possible, not possible to read it. If it is thickness also is not there also, it is difficult to read who are sitting at the end. So that is what the resolutions. So next one is low contrast between the characters and the background. So that is our background and background also should be clear. So here is what will happen. Here is background is white and whatever we have written the text is called the black. So then it is visible for everybody. So here is still they have used the red. So red is always it is more contrast will be there, it is visible more. So that means compared to black also it is more visible. So that is what the more highlighted. So we can able to read it properly that one. That is what the recall and color contacts. Next is fuzzy context boundaries. If too close, so we can use for this one. So times you have the font size is different versions, different ways of the printing. So examples you have seen the Roman, Arial. So like this you will be having the many things and which one is the comfortable you feel for others to read it also. Not only for us, this one. So one or two cases headings will change it and normally they will be following one textbooks and all one news readers, newspapers and all one text they will be following. So that is what they have to follow for that. Emitted lights, that is nothing but the displays more difficult to read by then reflected the light papers. Suppose if you are using emitted lights, so what will happen? It is difficult to read that one, that messages. So ventilation, suppose if you are reading night and all, what will happen? Proper lighting should be there, then only I can be able to read it on that one. Suppose if it is movie, some cases even they'll be showing the night captured items. So that one they'll be showing that one. So for that and all, whenever it is lighting is required, they have taken care. So even lights are not there also when we are seeing the movies and all in the theater, no problem. So that is not the case by case. You have to say it and you have to take care. That is what the reading from the paper versus the displays. Next is glare may be greater on the displays. Screen flicker can be a problem. This one also. There is also example, rarely, but in floor scenes of the lights. Next is curved displays also, surface of maybe the problems. So curving surface, this is nothing but with respect to the papers displays. So curving, all these things, it is difficulties to read it. So lighting, if it is not there properly, also difficulties. Resolution is not there, it is difficult. Font size, low font size if used also with difficulties. So all these things, whenever you are printing, you need to take care this one. That is what they're reading from the papers and the display. So when you are displaying the papers, you need to take care all those things. So curving the messages, all these things also difficulties. When the diagrams are there, resolution to be taken care. That is also, it will be coming in next slides. So here is small displays requires more frequent page tuning. So small pages also more frequent is required. So reading the distance can be greater than the papers. So reading distance is greater than the papers. So displays are fixed the place. Displays placement may be too high for comfortable reading. Next is layout and formatting the problems. Reducing hand and body motions with the displays may be fatiguing. Rigid poster for displays may be also the fatiguing. Unfamiliarities of the displays and anxieties that image may be disappear can increase the stress. That is the form interface. These were the examples for the potential disadvantages in reading from the displays. So these are all the things to be taken care with respect to online. See here, some of the examples they have given here. What will happen here? So I'll make it bigger one. So it is not visible only. So as seen, often use the reading the studies. So what will happen? This is nothing but they were given some of the foreground, background displaying some of the text. So some of the highlighted, some of the green colors are available, red, yellow, green. So all these things colors are visible, but it is not, I am not able to read out all these things. So that is what the papers versus the displays. So when you are printing for that, you have to see the preview and then you have to go for the displays. So that means what if it is like this, we can't able to see it anything in this one. So I'm not able to find out, or you are not able to see anything what it is that. So that is what the papers reading from the papers versus the displays. The here is just that is nothing but the some of the examples here. No need to bother for the what it is there the messages. So just some of the examples they have given here. That's all. So here is figure, they have displayed the three figures, and here is the height maps from the eye tracking studies. Eye tracking studies is nothing but what? So you can you able to track this? That is nothing but what? Some of the colors I can be able to mention. Some of the colors are visible, and some of the points are visible. So some of the text are there, but we are not able to read it out that one. That is what the way of the studies for this one. So red indicates the area where the users looked most. So red wherever it is available, so we are looking for the most for that one. Yellow indicates fewer views. So here is yellows are the there, so that is also indicates some of the things, and blue indicates the fewest views. Gray is used for the areas that were not viewed. So the images on the left is from the article in the About Us sections of the corporate website. The center images is a product page on the e-commerce websites, on the images on the right is the from the search engine results page. So this is what the what Harini, right. So some of the ways we can do. So that is what the reading from the papers versus the displays. So these are all the things to be taken care when you are writing, when you are displaying this one. That is what the when you are taking the online help tutorials, all these things. So simply dumping the data or dumping the frequently asked questions or whatever it may be, it is difficult. There is no use for that one. So some of the rules, regulations, standards to be followed. So what when you are displaying, what the background to be required, what is the foreground to be required, what is the character size, all these things. Suppose if you take the examples for the newspaper only. So some of the front sheet normally they will be doing the highlighted news. They will be putting into the front sheet and colors, all these things they will be displaying. So they will have some of the rules, regulations first, central government or international news, state news, all these things they have some of the way to display that one. So highlighted first, next state, so next international. So like that they'll be next to sports, so next is classified, something like that they'll be following and they'll be displaying. These were the reading from the papers and displays. So they cannot do whatever they want. If they're doing that one, users cannot be able to read it out that one. So some of the standards, some of the rules, regulations to be followed that one. So they have set for the rules, regulations for the printing for the papers or textbooks or your report everywhere, some of the rules, regulations to be followed. So that means what others also should be able to read out that one. That is what the reading from the papers versus the displays. So don't bother for this because three diagrams when we made it the images, so it is compressed the data. That is what they are telling. So when you are showing to somebody's, we have to take care that one. So texts should be visible for the others also. When I'm showing the PPTs, it should be clear for the others. So if I'm doing this, I'm failed. So informations should be transferred properly from source to destination. So like this should not be printed, should not be shown to the others because others will not be understand. This was the examples here. Next is shaping the content of the manuals. So when you have the manuals, how to make it for the manuals. So here is, for example, if you take our lab manuals, so what will happen there? So actually, we are not distributing the lab manuals. So we have some of the manuals we have to. So every subjects we have to prepare for that. So what is the question? What is the programs? What is the input? What is the output? What is the related for that? Any algorithms? All these things will be writing that one. So how to prepare for the manual? So here also some of the standards left, right, top, bottom, and headings, questions, what to be included, what to be taken the screenshots, all these things to be making. That is why the shaping the content of the manuals. So every manual. So for example, if you are applying for the PGCETs, they will be giving some of the manuals. That means what? When they are giving the advertisement itself, they will be giving the manuals. Admission procedure. So how to apply, how to write the examinations, where and all centers are available, what is the fee structures, how to get the admissions, so what are the college list, all these things in detail they will be given when they are giving for the notification. That is also called one manual. So you will be getting the manual, all these things. all colleges informations. Next, you have to decide which college to be taken. Next, which is nearby you, which is the suitable for you. All these things to be taken care. That is what the shaping the content of the manuals. So traditionally trading the reference materials often written by junior members of the development of the team. So here is see that is one the juniors will be making the manuals. That means what? For example, even CT and all, they'll be given one person will be there. So finally, he will be doing the proofreading whether the right or wrong. So first he'll give the instructions. This is what I will do it. You have to do it. Finally, they'll be combining. They'll be putting into that. So finally, they'll be presenting for that. So that what will happen? Then he will be reading. Simply he cannot display that one. So what will happen? So that is the more responsible. So your marks cards, if you take it, finally register evaluation will be signing. So it doesn't mean that he will be doing all the jobs. So he will be doing only for the signing. So before that, some of the stages will be there. They have to take care of that one. That is what this one. So they have given training for that. So one person cannot be done everything. So now even you are studying now MCA, so principal itself cannot take all your academic activities. Or if you one more next down to that one HOD. HOD also cannot be taken care of everything. So next is the faculty members. Next is they will be dividing the works and based on the subjects or based on the workload, something like that. So that is what the always subordinates or team members will be doing. Finally, one person will be there to do the authority of doing the work. That means what suppose if you are sending the SMS and all. So what will happen? Every teacher has to enter the internal marks. Finally, you will be getting the SMS of your details, how many classes you have attended, how many marks you have got, all these things to be done. So often poorly written. So here is not suited to the backgrounds of the users, delayed or incomplete, not tested adequately, all these things. So that means what? When you are making the pamphlets, so they have to see the stage by stage, whether it is right or wrong. All these things to be taken care. So that is what the first one, often poorly written, not suited to the backgrounds of the users, delayed or incomplete, not tested adequately. The benefits of well-designed manuals include shorter learning times, better user performance, increased user satisfaction, and few calls for the support also. So here is what the benefits of the well-designed manuals, what we'll be doing. Shorter learning times, better user performance, increase the user's satisfaction. So they'll be doing the user satisfaction. Otherwise, what will happen? They have to give some of the rules, regulations, and manuals. So when you want to get the admissions, for example, if you take PGCET only, MC admissions only, you know they'll be giving the rules, regulations, all these things. So that means what? What is the criteria to take the admissions? That means admission process. Next is writing the once you apply for the PGCET, you have to write the examinations and all the details, how to apply, how to do it, all these things. So that is what the user satisfaction. So better performance. So they'll not be having much complications later stages and all. Suppose when they have not given clarity for the admission process, so one person got one rank, one more person got one rank. So the rank wise they should give it and go. Suppose if they are giving for the last person for the first admissions and the remaining people will go for the fighting. So that is what the everything to be transparent and they have to go for the rules and regulations. That's what the manuals they've given how to allocate the seats also. So user satisfaction. So a few calls for the support also. Some of the cases you can ask that one. Suppose when you are uploading the applications, so maybe something it is happened. So you can ask that one through customer care, all these things. That is what they call support and all. So all these things you might have come across for this one. So well designed the manuals include the shorter learning times, better user performance, increase the user satisfaction, and few calls for the support and all. So when it will be giving the support on these things. Next is the active users paradox. So this one is nothing but users eagerness to conduct the meaningful activities often stops them from the spending time just learning, and therefore their skills remain mediocre. So here is nothing but the active and users. So that is nothing but the skills development. So when you are conducting any examinations based on the skills only, they will be developed. Identifying who's having knowledge first, to whom they have to give the admissions first, all these things. So similarly here also, manuals when you are preparing also, they have to prepare for the context meaningful activities and often stops of them from the spending the time. So just learning. So just learning is nothing but here is when they are learning, they have to give some of the rules, regulations for the meaningful activities. So applicable to all tasks in the facts. Next is here is shaping the content of the manuals. So how it should be the manuals for this? So manuals preparations also they have given minimal manuals. So encourage the activities involvement with the hands-on. So here is you have to encourage the activities. That means what? What activities you are doing for that relevant documents to be done. For example, college celebration day. So when they want to celebrate it, so they want to prepare the rules and regulations and all, or they want to conduct some of the sports activities. So they have to give the sports activities rules and regulations how to do it that one. So that is what the minimal manuals. Next is Carros guided exploration. So guided guidelines also they have to given for the preparation for the manuals. Choose an action of the oriented approaches. So what actions we are doing for the oriented approaches? Anchor the tool of the task domain. It is not same for all the manuals are same based on the activities we have to prepare for that one, or based on the domains we have to prepare for that one. Support the error recognition and recoveries. Suppose if it is any mistakes are there, it should be able to sometimes to rectify the errors also. So we are doing some of the activities, some cases, so we'll find mistakes means we should be able to rectify that one errors. So then we have to go ahead. So that is what the manuals preparation context shaping. Supporting reading to study and locate. So you have to support the reading to do, and we have to locate for that one. So where to locate and this one. That means we have to print the messages according to the step by step. We can say that one. Which one will be coming first? Which one will be coming next? All these things. That is what the guided exploration. Next is slow, numerous, well-chosen screen prints and demonstrate typically uses. So predictive model. So that is nothing but what? So you have to print the proper list. So for example, some of the colleges they will give the brochures when you go for the PGCET or CET for the engineering students. They will be preparing the brochures and they will be giving. So most attractive way. So that is what they show the numerous well chosen the screen prints. So screen prints, all these things they have to take care. That means what? They have to print properly. So by seeing the other users, they should be attracted. So that is what the preparing way of the manuals. Components of well-designed manuals. So what is the key components for the well-designed manuals? What they have taken care is nothing but table of content and indexes are required. So if you have many pages, like 20 pages and 30 pages. Suppose if you are VTU, they are given for the admission process for the PhD. So websites it is available. They have given how to take the admissions, how to allocate the guides, what is the publications, all these things, what is the maximum duration, all these things. Even for your MC admissions also, in the book, whatever they were given, the syllabus book they will be giving. After taking the admissions, how to complete, when to complete, what is the maximum duration, what is the passing mark criteria, how they will be calculating CCPA, how to calculate the semester grade, SGCPA, all these things. That is what the here is table of the content. So in a textbook, if you see what will happen, table of contents will be there. So which page, what, all these things, the details to be given clearly. Next is glossaries of the clarifying the technical terms. So technical terms to be clarified. So some of the textbooks, if you see it, so some of the words they will be given the down the further explanations and all. So some of the books, if you see it, you'll be come to know that one. So some of the technical words explanation will be given. They have to give the explanation for the technical words. Next is appendices for the error messages. So appendices also to be given for the error messages. So this is what the shaping of the content of the manuals. So when they want to prepare the manuals, these are the things to be followed. This is what the rules regulations. Then only you will be a good person when you are preparing the manuals. So simply we cannot dump it all this one. So step by step we need to give it. For example, that's what I told you, the admission process only. So when they are doing the admission process, so which one will be coming first, which one will be coming next, till you get the admission process, they have to give it. So all these things systematically they have to give it. That is what the shaping of the content of the preparation. You can take some of the examples for the textbooks, how they have prepared it, that one. So well shaped, top to bottom will be the same. You can see the newspapers. They have some of the rules, regulations, they'll be following for that one. That's it. So user manual guidelines based on the practice and empirical studies. So call roll, etc. So all this one. This one we'll see it in the next class. Today's question is this one. List of the potential disadvantages in reading from the papers versus the displays. This is what the quiz question. You send it, by the time I'll take the attendance. Three. Answer attendance. 2,
Yes, sir.
3,
Yes, sir.
4, 5,
Yes, sir.
7,
6,
sir.
7,
Present, sir.
8. Bindu. 9. 9. Divyash. 10. Gaurish. 11. 12.
Present, sir.
13.
Present, sir.
Harini. 14. 15.
Present, sir.
16.
Present, sir.
Nayana. 17.
Present, sir.
Present, sir.
18. Nidhi. 19. Pradeep. 20.
Present, sir.
21. 22.
Present, sir.
24. Zahadev. 25. 27. ఇది 25, Saket.
Yes, sir.
26, Santosh.
Present, sir. Present, sir.
27, Seema.
Yes, sir.
29,
Present, sir.
30,
Present, sir.
31,
Present, sir.
33, Varsha.
Present, sir.
50.
Sir, 34 present, sir.
Madam, if you put it there in the message box, no problem. If your mic is not working, so like Harini, Gautami, they entered there in message box. We enter it and leave it. I'll put that, and it's no problem.
Okay, sir.
Right, madam. 50, 51, 51, Anusha. 52, Apurva. 53, 54, Chetana.
Present, sir.
55, Kavya. 56,
Present, sir.
57, 57, Manish. 58,
Present, sir.
59,
Present, sir.
60,
Present, sir.
61,
Present, sir.
62,
Present, sir.
63,
Present, sir.
64, 65,
Present, sir.
66, 66, Sadhana. 67, 68, Shashank.
Present, sir.
69,
Present, sir.
70, 70, Sridhar. 71,
Present, sir.
72, Tejashwari.
Present, sir.
73,
Present, sir.
74,
Present, sir.
75, 76,
Present, sir.
77,
Present, sir.
52 present, sir. 52 present, sir. Mic was not working, sir.
52. ಆಯ್ತು.
Okay, sir.
Right. So all of you sent that question.